In the 1960s, a psychologist and researcher named Albert Bandura began publishing books and papers on behavior change and motivation. Among the assertions made by Bandura was that people cannot influence their own motivation and actions very well if they do not pay adequate attention to their own performances, the conditions under which they occur, and the immediate effects they produce. In other words, a person needs to perform an action, observe what happens, then modify their behavior, and then they are motivated to try the action again to see the new result. When placed into the context of gamification or game thinking, the term for this process is often called an engagement loop or feedback loop. The idea is that the player performs an action, receives feedback from the experience, and then is motivated to continue performing the same or similar action, hoping to gain rewards, achievements, or progress. For example, let's say a gamified platform presents a learner with a challenging question or situation involving safety at work. The learner solves the challenge or answers the question about safety correctly and is rewarded with points and progress. This encourages the player to answer more questions about safety and continues the feedback loop. The loop keeps the learner engaged with the activity of learning about safety, reminding them of safety protocols, and keeping safety at the forefront of their thoughts. Since the learner is receiving reinforcement for their activity, they will continue performing that activity until things change or the reward is no longer valuable. Engagement loops are at the heart of most gamified activities. To take it one step further, game designer Amy Jo Kim, who has design credits including Rock Band and The Sims, calls the engagement loop the learning loop. She asserts that at the heart of game thinking is the idea of learning. Applying this to the gamification of learning and instruction, the engagement loops that are created lead directly to learning. Learning loops are the tiny moments where learning occurs. These engagement loops or learning loops are what provide knowledge, skills, and behavior change. A learner is motivated to attempt to answer a question, answers the question correctly, receives affirmative feedback, and then is motivated to encounter and answer the question again. That's an engagement or learning loop. The basic premise of the loop is simple. Provide the learner with information about their knowledge, skills, or behavioral development in real time, and then give them an opportunity to change and retry so they can observe what happens as a result. In these types of loops, it's critical to have clear goals and a clear indication of progress. Albert Bandura calls this informativeness of performance feedback, which basically means the learner, to improve her performance, needs to have clarity of purpose, clear feedback on answers, and the communication of progress. These things must be part of the engagement or learning loop. Since gamification is about engagement, the feedback loop or engagement loop needs to be at the center of the gamified experience that you employ or create. Researchers have shown that engagement loops are powerful tools for reinforcing and encouraging learning. When properly designed, engagement loops reinforce the knowledge, skills, and behavior you want to drive home in your learners.